I can't even get on Chatter.
Nelson,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
listen, I'll say quick. Nelson was here for about an hour and explaining people were upset. There was a woman named Bella. She'd been deplatformed, and Nelson, I don't know why he felt the need to explain it. And the minorities in the room were good for about 10 minutes, and then it became this free-for-all thugism, just the most vile stuff I've ever heard. I mean, just angry with Nelson that he was actually successful and associated with white people. I'm not making this up, and it's crazy. It's crazy to listen to what's going on over there.
So I was in this room yesterday, I think it was Mojo's room, and all of a sudden I kept getting these pings.
Yes.
From folks who are considered the dark side over here, but they navigated over to Chatter. And every one of them was pinging me in the room. Because apparently most of them got banned off Chatter, which was surprising. So I was giving you laughing emojis, David, because I'm like, I can only imagine what that was like. Whatever you heard.
I respect Nelson for what he's done, in his personal life and how successful he is as a builder of ultimately quality products. But it's so crazy to hear someone like him torn down. And it wasn't just you're a bad person. I mean, these people were going to go after him like street tactics, and I was hard to listen to.
Yeah, I think that he's made a lot of people cranky and unhappy with him. I've known of him and communicated with him for the last 4.5 years. I don't mind him. I think that he made some mistakes in essentially turning that app into like the private playground of Jonathan Bing, who I don't think much of at all. And I think if he thought of it more of a business and less of as a tool to hook up the homies, I think he would do better.
I think it sounds like he had to, in the beginning, I mean, the people that followed him were the destructive part of Clubhouse. And, they just had so many of those rooms that weren't doing anybody any good. And not enough.
This is why I think a lot of Federal Reserve
it sounds like he finally came to that realization.
Who's the big Jonathan Bing that has those rooms that like kind of refinance with no money down? There's like 7 people in it every other day.
Got it. So here's what I will say. Every time that I've gone to Chatter, it's not popping. I'm sorry. I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. Like, there's not hundreds of people in those rooms. Okay, Lou Facts, other people on this app generate more traffic. I'm sorry. So, Roger, the other thing that I wanted to say is if you click on the link that I posted in the chat, that's Rob Smith. I really feel like you and I should go in on this. You know what I mean? As far as bringing him to the app, bringing a different, fresh set of opinions, to actually hold a different conversation. But aside from that, just looking at the traffic on Chatter, I don't feel like it's the same type of hype that we're hearing on this app. I'm sorry. I couldn't even count 75 people. Then I go into the room, and it's like, okay, I'm being attacked by Jennifer Lopez's, a former makeup artist. What in the hell? Like, it's crazy. Like, you have a bunch of people that, quite frankly, are in the positions that they're in. They're trying to generate a certain amount of traffic towards their own brands. It's like the social media version of, like, freaking the Home Shopping Network.
You gotta be careful when you type it in that you don't put in Chatterbait.
Nothing wrong with Chatterbait.
Okay, it's like the Home Shopping Network of, like, social audio. Like, it's like the Home Shopping Network. Like, it's like cheesy infomercial after infomercial. I'm not trying to knock somebody's business. What I'm saying is, listen, bring people onto that app to, number one, drive traffic, and number two, Edmund gets more traffics in his recorded rooms than freaking the average active user on Chatter. Like, what are we doing? Like, are we just going to sit here and just pretend like this is some sensational, like, newfound technology? Like, this is crazy. This shit has nobody on it. And meanwhile, we have this, like, bullying marketing campaign where, you know, people come onto this app that's thriving, successful, and they're saying, hey, you know, download something else on your phone and, you know, split your time and attention in between people who are on Clubhouse and people who are on an app where nobody fucking logs in.
Sounds like it's a good thing that I cannot get back on Chatter. I've uninstalled the app, installed it again, changed password multiple times, and still cannot get on Chatter. And I guess it's probably a good thing.
Listen. I lived at the freaking the building next to the W. The young man who did hair for Kylie Jenner and Jennifer Lopez, right, lived in my fucking building. I never seen this woman as a makeup credit, and I went to his Instagram because I knew exactly where to go. Right, Nine? I never seen this woman credited as any form of this woman's makeup team, ever on the Instagram.
Well, at least over here we have Black China stylist, allegedly. Without saying his name, Adams, you probably know who he is.
No, that was me.
You're Black China stylist.
Only.
No, I'm talking about Jesus. So again, Jesus lived in my building, and again, I followed him on Instagram. Never saw this woman tagged in any type of post. Because again, when you talk about Jennifer Lopez and people who are like actual artists, they give their shout out to their makeup team. Never seen this bitch once in any fucking posting or any of that shit. Are you doing makeup for her to have tea with her freaking grandmother?
Maybe it's the Timo version of J-Lo. Everybody claims to work for somebody, but they're not really working for that person, right?
But they know somebody who is.
And they know somebody who knows somebody. Black China stylist is constantly getting dragged on this app for being hired and rehired and hired and fired and rehired over and over again. Allegedly.
You know, when you got Crips and Bloods with their own social audio app and they're conspiring to commit murders or drug deals on whether it's Clown House or Chatter or other platforms, you know, I could see why Nelson and Pega might make the strategic move to decide to delete people who are using his investment qualifier app as a way to conduct criminal communications.
Well, John, I learned today, first of all, there's a so-called Crip blood leader that comes into health debates. And he went off on me one day because he thought I removed him from the stage, which I didn't do.
You talking about Unc?
No. And then today I learned that he was invited over to Chatter to host spaces. Speaking of the gangs, and apparently he does really well over there. Apparently, he got paid to even promote Chatter. So imagine that.
You're talking about Whack?
I don't want to say his name because apparently he's a shooter. Apparently he will pull up to your house. Listen.
And why? We don't want the smoke. So again, Whack 100, I will always respect him as a business person. So he has and drives traffic on social media more than any person on the stage. So it's crazy to me how people want to criticize and scrutinize the way that he shows up on social media. We don't want that smoke. Let's move on from Quack 100.
You were definitely afraid of him because they let him go on for an hour and would not moderate him yesterday. So that's interesting.
I will say this as somebody that went to Chatter and wanted to believe that, you know, that's because I like social audio and I like Nelson. I wanted to believe that it was something that, you know, that could work. I think that the fact that they're instituting at this stage of the game, rather than worrying about really onboarding people, that they're worried about like monetizing the people that are on the app, because the monetization strategy is really to raise money for themselves. They don't give a shit. They're struggling to raise money institutionally or otherwise, and so what they're doing is half the money that you give to a creator, quote unquote, the other half goes to the app. So when you do this, I would just say, be careful on that app. I would never ever give money to people on these apps. Don't give your money to them, no matter what they say, no matter how agreeable you are with them. Do not give your money. We need different monetization strategies to make sure that, listen, until you know what their tech stack looks like and how they plan on protecting your identity, it's a very, very bad idea for you to put your financial information on those apps. And so, like, if Chatter was unattractive to you before the monetization, it should be more unattractive now that it has the monetization. Because really, all they're saying is they want you to link your financial information to them, and I would not expose that to anybody on any of these apps.
One of the plethora of reasons why I've never been to Chatter.
So I would imagine there's going to be people that when they hear, oh, you can monetize, they're going to go, oh, let me go try that out. Let me go see if I can make $3 a day by doing the same thing I do for free on Clubhouse. And if that's what people are here for, is to try to monetize, go for it. Go make your $3. I personally think, as somebody that's experimented with, let's go check out Chatter. For me, at least, it was a mistake because it was a big waste of time. But that doesn't mean that I don't support Nelson. And I hope that his vision can come alive at some point, and maybe, you know, he can separate himself from some of the people that are clearly trying to draft off of his momentum. I think he's surrounded himself with some boobs. Jonathan Bing is one of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. And the guy that they have running their tech stack was a guy that Clubhouse is smart enough to not hire, and that was Nozzle. So, I mean, I would seriously look at that stuff. And honestly, if somebody's telling you, hey, you should come check out this app, you know, support it because there's monetization. Just think of the ask itself. You know, the app is saying, come here, you'll get paid. And then the creators are like, come here, I'll get paid. You got to ask yourself, what's in it for you? Are you going to have a better conversation over there or over here?
So this also begs a question. Roger, what do you think of this? I'd also be curious of others' opinion. Dr. Mitch, John, is that Mitchell? This notion of doing business with friends, right? Like, the two Clubhouse founders were friends, but they had skill sets that were complementary. But when you pick business partners because they're friends alone, and you simply may trust them more, while it makes sense to some degree, you need to surround yourself with people who have expertise in areas other than yours, and they're willing to challenge you. And so I'd actually give the Clubhouse founders much more credit. While they happened to be friends, they had the skill sets that were compatible and necessary to bring something bigger to fruition. These people surrounded themselves with only the folks that were in their house that they happened to be chummy with, and, you know, were a bunch of cliquey mods. And it just seems like, God, any MBA program or someone with just lived experience in the working world who's seasoned would know that that's not a recipe for success.
I mean, you know, I give people credit for trying. That's all I can say. And sometimes it works to be exclusive, and sometimes it doesn't. You know, it's why they put lines outside of nightclubs.
Wait, Roger, was the lady who claimed to be, she says she's like a realtor. She's got like some big real estate company that's worth like $100 million or some shit.
Are you talking to Cindy Stumpo?
Yeah, is she the one that owns this? Is she?
No.
I think she's an advisor.
Yeah, she's an advisor, and she runs like construction crews. She's a builder.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah.
No,
She
hold on.
made it sound like she owned the company when she was telling
Cindy
all of it.
Stumpo is the real deal, and if you knew her story and what she built and what she's accomplished since in her 20s, you would be blown away. So don't denigrate her.
It wasn't a
Well,
denigration.
hold on. He was just asking if that's the person. I will say this: our own Dr. Jordan had some very choice words for Cindy Stumpo at one point. Dr. Jordan, you wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, Cindy Stumpo survived me, as hard as that is to do. I had a moment of narcissistic rage. There's the word for you. Moose is still in the room. Moose isn't in the room anymore. Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it. No, I'm here. I appreciate I was about to leave, but you just said the word, so I'm staying.
So I went off on her because my take on it is as nuts as I am. So my family on both sides is in commercial real estate, which makes me no expert, right? But I did grow up in that space. And I had this chip on my shoulder because she talks like she's the God's gift to real estate. And she is a builder of residential properties and does a phenomenal job and has really high-end clients. I can't knock that. But something triggered me in something she said that night. And I had to bring out my insecurity was going ape shit, and I had to call her out on you know nothing about the International Council of Shopping Centers and this, that, and the other, and they're bigger real estate people out there than you. But I went on this fucking absolute diatribe. Yeah, it was. And then, as Mojo and others of you were there can point out, then I went into my self-victimization program and sounded like I was at a 12-step reunion.
If you thought his attack of her was bad, his apology to her was worse. It was crazy.
Cindy's had a lot worse happen to her in her life. She probably doesn't even remember it. So
Can I ask you a question, Dr. Jordan? So last night, Nelson Apega was getting absolutely torn up by this girl who lives in Chicago. And if you go to her Instagram, she's Bella Lurica, whatever. She looks like a prostitute on her Instagram. My question to you is, she kept screaming at Nelson saying, I thought you were a federal agent.
Gossiping.
You kept coming on this app. I know I'm gossiping.
You're
And
gossiping.
I'm going to finish my statement, even if you loud mic me. I don't care. I'll turn the volume down. She said over and over, I thought you were a federal agent, Nelson, and you kept promoting the vaccine. So my question to you is, Dr. Jordan, I have also heard people accuse you of pushing the vaccine. I'm just wondering, in hindsight, after COVID-19 is over, are you still a supporter of the COVID-19 vaccines? That's the only question I wanted to ask. Thank you. I'm asking you.
Thank you, Edmund. Thank you.
So, I'm so far removed from the vaccinology space. You should ask Dr. Mitch this stuff. But to me, I just saw that the chief vaccinologist, that's not the actual title, from Norway, died at 53 the other day. And there's all these conspiracy theories being floated about this particular guy. I mean, hey, the amount of research, if only canine coronavirus had been studied this much, veterinarians would be making a fortune. They've studied this stuff so much, and the epidemiological data. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm more skeptical of science now than ever, and part of that has been influenced by COVID. I'll say that much.
That's a great answer. trust in the medical community. There's so many things were done to suppress information treatment that what it really did is it eroded confidence in research, science, and medicine.
Shout out to the purebloods.
Does that answer your question, Tom?
It does, but I just still think it's interesting how people are still calling people out for being vaccine promoters, and you were recently called out as being a vaccine promoter. So that's the only reason I brought it up, Dr. Jordan.
Oh, yes, I definitely was. Well, you got to remember, my work was in preventive medicine, using a lot of animal models. And everything that I learned, I was almost programmed to vaccinate for everything. Even the rabies vaccine, the mRNA rabies vaccine had come out, I think, in like 2018. And if you work on the veterinary side of things, everything is about prevention. Parasiticidal agents are prominently used. It's different than human medicine. We focus on infectious disease because of food safety, and the concern about zoonotic pathogens is a real threat, even in the wildlife conservation arenas. So I was programmed for that stuff far before COVID. So that would be my excuse.
Going back to the title of the room, I would say that COVID-19 and that whole 3-year run was an exercise in what I would call anarchy.
I agree, and I believe we were attacked by that virus, by the makers of it, as if we were attacked physically by bombs or in a war. And I think we haven't seen the full. Who made it? The lab in China.
See, David, I think you got it backwards there. It's not the Wuhan lab that was the attack. It was the Pfizer, Moderna, J&J vaccine that was the attack. That's my opinion.
Oh, that's wrong. The attack came from Wuhan. Whatever you would think about, first of all, that should never have been called a vaccine. That's the first wrong thing about it. It never was a vaccine.
I'm just wondering, David, if you can actually repeat back to me what I just said.
I'm not your puppet.
Okay, well then I rest my case. You made my case, by saying exactly what you're saying. I think, you're actually a victim here of propaganda, and unfortunately you can't recognize it.
Yeah. I know propaganda when I see it. Heard it from you. What, 6 years now? 5 years? Delusion.
Okay, do you want me to post the links about what J&J recently disclosed within the past month? Do you want me to post a dozen other links to show you that what you're saying is completely opposite truth?
Okay, so relax.
I am relaxed. I'm just asking a question.
This is the most boring fight I've ever seen.
It's over. It's done. J&J was never a good vaccine to begin with. They didn't even make their own vaccine. That was a live virus.
What do you think's going to happen the next time there's a pandemic?
Wait, did you say pandemic?
Nope, I said pandemic. I'm not a weirdo.
It starts with an A and it ends with a Y. That spells, come on, everybody, anarchy.
They'll just set up another booth in Costco and have you bring your babies and stick them full of shit.
It's Beam a sweat dream.
Well, RK Jr.'s in charge. It'll be interesting.
I think that guy's a fraud.
Really hard to tell, but I've heard suspicious conspiracy theories as well. Hard to tell. It seems like he's bent a lot on a lot of the things he came in to do. But the medical machine is so huge. I mean, it's a behemoth. So I don't think that's an easy system to change by any stretch.
True. 14 years of heroin use, getting people in his family addicted didn't help either.
You know, Dr. Mojo, I'm wondering if I could make a special request. I was the first person in this room, and I read what's called the next steps from the Book of the Law with regards to anarchy, socialism, communism, fascism. Would it be okay if I quickly recited that to the room, Dr. Mojo?
Is it short?
Yes.
No.
Yes, it's very
No,
short.
of course it's not.
It's very short. I read it to you when you first opened the room. Okay, hold on one second.
Oh man, you're supposed to read that. Your favorite communist just came back, Roger.
Wait, hold on. Are you calling Duma a communist?
Well, I mean, she doesn't actually want anarchy. She wants to remove our current government and replace it with her strict authoritarian government, where she rules everything.
Don't you think it's weird that the person that doesn't like government also likes oppressive regimes like Hamas that was elected to govern people in Gaza?
Okay, I'm ready to read this. If you're ready to let me read it real quickly. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, go for it. Read it.
Okay, this is called the next step. Democracy daughters, ferocious fascism, cackling communism, equally frauds cavort crazily all over the globe. They are hemming us in. Liberty stirs once more in the womb of time. Evolution makes its changes by anti-socialistic ways. The abnormal man who foresees the trend of the times and adapts circumstance intelligently is laughed at, persecuted, often destroyed by the clubhouse herd. But he and his heirs, when the crisis comes, are survivors. Above us today hangs a danger never yet paralleled in history. We suppress the clubhouse individual in more and more ways. We think in terms of the herd. War no longer kills soldiers, it kills all indiscriminately. Every new measure of the most democratic and autocratic governments is communistic in essence. It is always restriction. We are all treated as imbecile children. DORA, the Shops Act, the motoring laws, Sunday suffocation, the censorship, clubhouse deplatforming. They won't trust us to cross.
I like that last one.
They won't trust us to cross the roads at will. Fascism is like communism and dishonest into the bargain. The dictators of Clubhouse suppress all art, literature, theater, music, news that does not meet their requirements. Yet the world only moves by the light of genius. The Clubhouse herd will be destroyed in mass. In the words of the famous paradox of the Comte de Phoenix, or Edmund Dakin, the absolute rule of the state shall be a function of the absolute liberty of each individual will.
Who wrote that? Why were they referencing Clubhouse?
Well, I wrote it, last night after Nelson Pega deplatformed me and deleted my account on Chatter, so I just wanted to share it with you all. I hope you enjoyed it.
I got a question. What could he do if we were to just continue making accounts to stream in rooms, stream this room into his platform? If we just continue to make accounts to do that, like what can he do about that?
I think first of all, if I used my name, he would delete it right away, I'm sure. But if I created something, random name, it might not detect it. But I think there's like a control type of thing there where, anyways, if you listen to my replay from last night, I'm done answering that.
Man, if only we knew somebody with 800 accounts.
Yeah, it might help them.
Yeah, I think if we just create a bunch of accounts, make most of them look like left-wing accounts, and then say glowing things about Chatter, say that your favorite host is Jonathan Bing, things like that in your bio. I think that might allow them to be less suspicious. And then we just pop up and just stream this room over
What if he just generated like 800 random kills?
I'll try it again on a different burner phone that I have and keep it generic and see how it goes. But it's just actually what I was thinking about doing was creating an account over there and just live streaming their rooms, and they probably wouldn't be able to figure out which profile was mine.
Yeah, they would. There's only like 3 people in the room.
Well,
It's great audio over there, much better than here.
well, anyways, I'm just saying I thought about that. I was like, that's one more live stream of social
You
audio.
think their audio is better than the audio here? Yes.
What? Ooh, I don't think so. I wouldn't agree with that.
So did anybody have any thoughts or opinions on what I just read to you?
Nope.
Well, my first thought was when I heard Clubhouse, I knew instantly you wrote it. My second thought was this individual is such a fascinating human, John/Edmund. You truly are intriguing, sir.
Thanks. I have to warn you, I'm susceptible to flattery.
The science one is brain.
Yeah, he probably has one. Next to IO, he probably has one of the highest IQs on the app.
No, Ethan's definitely the highest.
Oh, are you guys saying who? John who? Well, I'm just going by the name in his PTR. I know it's not John.
So wait, Mojo, were you not aware that Donald Trump had declared English the official language of the USA?
Not unofficially. Nothing will ever officially document that ever.
Mojo still has to press 1 for English.
So one of the things, maybe this isn't newsworthy to most, but the fact that he said something apparently about not pardoning Diddy because of something Diddy said during the election, is that the most asinine thing? Like the one thing I have now in common with Diddy is that I won't get pardoned by Donald Trump because I said a lot of things that he wouldn't like.
You said a lot of personal.
Were you a vet at some point or are?
I taught vet students, but I have a PhD. Why?
I wanted to ask you, have you ever heard of a case of a dog chewing up glass, like a glass jar, swallowing it and surviving?
I mean, I'm sure it's possible. Why?
Oh, I was just curious.
I mean, it's probably, it's probably possible, but like, I don't know how you would, depends what else it ate, it depends on all kinds of things.
Bima, can I ask you a question about pit bulls?
Mm-hmm.
So say you take your pit bull to the park and this guy has a little Yorkie and your pit bull gets off leash, grabs the Yorkie and just tears it to shreds and kills it. But then that guy pulls a gun and kills your pit bull. How do you respond?
Yeah, I would. That would be self-defense. I would have no recourse. I mean, I would obviously be very upset, but you know what I mean?
So, okay, let me just ask a question out loud.
The thing is,
Beam up. Do you think that Diddy is innocent?
So just to finish that question, John or Dr. Jordan.
Got it.
I don't follow the Diddy. I don't follow the celebrity stuff. I leave that up to whoever likes that type of stuff.
Right.
I have no idea. I have no idea anything about it. I can't.
Conspiracy theory as far as how you form your opinions, especially in the.
What does that have to? I'm not even following. What does Diddy? I'm so confused.
In a Bima. You sit in a freaking propaganda echo chamber.
Okay. So, all right. Anyway, so the thing is
Got it.
okay. The thing is
So you
that,
don't feel like you've been brainwashed in the spaces that you've been in chillism?
so the thing is I would do the same if that was another dog that came to attack my dog.
Wait, Bima, let me
pulled out
change
a
the
gun
question. Let me
and-
change the question real quick, Bima. Can you explain your PTR to the room? Thank you.
This is crazy.
Yeah, so unfortunately, AI didn't want to give me symbols. I wanted it to represent like Islam and then Judaism, but it only would do flags every time, all my prompts. But the idea is just a peaceful society. All of us living
it's
together
crazy.
peacefully.
You know, Bima actually used to show up on social audio as herself. It's crazy. It's crazy what that time in that.
What do you mean as myself? What are you talking about, Adams? Adams, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Well, I mean, like, it's Saturday. Are you, like, drinking and stuff?
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Well, I'm okay, but I think I'm making sense.
Yeah, you're definitely not making sense.
Okay.
So, Bima, what's the source of coexistence? Again, the question is, what is the source of coexistence?
Now, what is the source of coexistence? Can you break that down for me? Because I can answer
Sure.
that.
So, source is basically where something comes from, and coexistence means peace. So, what is the source of peace? Thank you for considering my question. I am complete.
The source of peace would be a way to reciprocate rights. So, not violating each other.
Okay, wait, before you go any further, let me interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you. Let me ask you a different way. What is the source of love? Thank you.
So that's much more difficult. What is the source of love? God?
Wait.
That's how I would answer it.
You're going to say God? That's your answer? Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, but not everybody answers that way. Not everybody believes in the same God. Not everybody is even a theist.
2,000 wars in the name of God since Christ. That's a lot.
So, David, let me ask you a question. What's the source of life?
Probably the one time my parents had sex.
The hydrogen in it.
I got a question for Bima, if you bear with me here. If somebody were to steal your car, who would you call first after your car is stolen?
I'd call this whatever security firm, aka the equivalent of what you guys would understand as a police, right? It would be my.
No. We're living in the world that we're living in today. Like so you go outside, you double wide, and your car is missing. Who do you call?
Ghostbusters.
Oh, if you're being very honest with you, I wouldn't call the cops right away.
You wouldn't. What would you do?
I would try to figure out who took it and what's going on with it. I would try to find it myself.
Are you a skilled investigator?
I have skilled investigate. Yeah, I have very high sources that can help me. Sure.
Phenomenal. What happens if you found it? What would you do?
I would take it back.
What if the people were armed?
What if they don't have to worry about them being armed? They have to worry about me being armed.
But if you were to shoot them, you would go to jail.
And wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something that someone who's protecting their property, right? A peaceful person, not harming any other person, but the person
well, if
who
you
is...
shoot them, you'd definitely be harming.
Well, I wouldn't just shoot them right off the bat. I would only shoot them if they threatened violence or they tried to stop me from claiming my property, which would be
Don't you think a more prudent step would be to get the police to retrieve the vehicle for you?
I mean, this is the thing. I don't subscribe to the police, so I would do it myself first.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to them?
I don't support. I don't align with anything they do. They're terrorists. And
wait, well, hold on. Even if they could retrieve your car and return it to you?
See, this is the thing. I would appreciate just being able to. I don't trust them for to return my car because listen, the worst case scenario. Okay, listen. I'll be real. Likely, I would try to retrieve my car, but I'm not going to kill somebody over my car, right? And I also wouldn't want someone to be killed over my car. That's why I'm not going to call the police. So I would like to deal with it. I would deal with it.
What if you found out that the people that stole your car were a dangerous militia that was heavily armed? Would you then just say, "Oh fuck it, I guess I can keep my car"?
Well, if they're a dangerous militia who are known, who are violating people's rights and have already been proven to, harm other people, well then yeah, they have no right reciprocation, and I'll go and get my car the way that I see fit. So that I wouldn't care. But if it's just like some downtrodden person who saw an opportunity, took the car, and it's like some woman with her homeless bag. I mean, like you've seen these videos, and of people finding their vehicles, and she has a kid or something. Yeah, I'm just gonna go talk to her. I'm gonna talk to him.
You're gonna go talk to the car thief?
Right, exactly.
Phenomenal.
How does
Wait, isn't that what the police would do? Wait, hold on.
Well,
do you think the police wouldn't talk to them?
The police aren't interested on their reasons. If they break the law, like it's not really a debate. They're
right, but it's not up to them. It's not their property. It's not their property. They don't get to say what happens. It's my property. I get to say what happens to the thief that stole from me. It's not.
Actually, no. If it's against the law, which it is to steal a car, you don't even have to press charges. The police can apprehend the car thief, and a prosecutor, without you testifying or willing to press charges, the prosecutor can press charges on their own because they want to rid society of car thieves. They want to crack down on this stuff.
That is correct.
Right. That's what the law is. But I'm having a different conversation. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's what would happen as like a matter of fact of law today. But I'm saying, ought is ought. Just because it is that way, ought to be that way.
Can I ask a question? One of my dumb questions.
You cannot ask, but you can. John, what can you do?
Okay.
John, tell him what he can do.
So, if I want to ask. So, how does anarchical principle?
This is going to have to do with sex, I can tell. Go ahead.
Exactly. How does anarchical principles, how do they apply to like open marriage or marriage? Like, can't you just steal someone's wife? And maybe I'm talking about uncivilized behavior, but how does it apply to like marriage and like divorce and the union of a couple?
It's voluntary, so it's all based off of just contracts.
How does a murderer?
So it applies to it.
Real quick. How does a murderer get prosecuted in this society? Who apprehends a murderer?
The what you would understand, and I'm using this term so you could understand it, is what the police.
Okay. So you have police.
Of course.
But you'll call it something else because it makes you feel more comfortable. So basically, you just want to rename things.
Well, no. The thing is police means they're law enforcement, right? And they're policing. So there's a difference.
It says anarchy police department.
So these in an anarchist society, in a voluntary society, there isn't going to be law enforcement because there aren't going to be laws. There isn't a centralized authority. There's going to be a bunch of different rules.
If there's not a centralized authority,
regulations, yeah.
If there's not a centralized authority, who's to say that the murderer can't just say, "Hey, I justifiably committed this homicide. And then if there's no central authority, who would determine innocence and guilt?
Right, well, that's why it's up to the DA who decides. A lot of people forget just because the cops arrest, it's still up to the DA whether they're going to press charges. And
No, he's asking about the anarchy.
If the DA thinks there's enough evidence that a jury would
Moose, we're talking about in this imaginary anarchy world.
The anarchy world.
She believes that what you're going to have is you're not going to have courts, you're not going to have judges, you're not going to have police.
Oh no, she doesn't say that.
But you'll have she does say that. But what she says is that you're going to replace it with something that's like police and like courts and like judges.
Oh yeah. Okay, I see what you did there.
And what would those be exactly?
Judges, police.
People who couldn't get on the real police.
We would just refer to them as a private security agency, and that would make her feel better.
Yeah, we had that for 2 square blocks in Seattle during the Summer of Love. 4 people died.
Yeah, I was going to ask how to turn out.
You know, Bima, I think a lot of people give you a lot of smoke, Bima, but I think you got a great speaking voice. I think you're probably a nice person. You know, I mean, we talked about the golden rule earlier, but I just want to, try to give you a compliment and say you're a great speaker. I hope you keep reading books. I hope you get out of that abusive relationship. I hope all your dreams come true. I hope you get all the health and wealth and love you deserve. And I hope you have a great Saturday night, Bima.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. And don't be dismayed. I'm not in an abusive relationship. If anybody's abusing anybody, it's me abusing him. He doesn't even curse. He can't even kill ants and flies. He's just as sweet as. Well, he's much sweeter. He's a much better person than I am in almost every way.
Do you think that if you hung out in rooms where you had conversations with intelligent people, that you'd be less radical? Do you think that your gradual slide into this fantasy land is being aided by hanging out with the low IQ people in chillism?
No, I have I've hung out with people who are much more intelligent than anybody on this app, who actually write philosophical works. They are the leaders of the voluntarist societies of the world.
Hold on. Can you point us to some of these people? Like you said, they publish works. I want to read it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's right in my bio. Patrick Smith. Go ahead.
Patrick Smith. That sounds like a fake name.
It's a real name. It's a real guy.
Bima, if you read
Smith and Christian Moore, these are two individuals.
Bima, let me ask you a question.
With hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Bima, let me ask you a follow-up question. If you read such Bima, hold on. Let me just do a quick diagnostic here. You read such intelligent authors. Let me ask you a question. What's 100 times 1,000?
100 times 1,000. So 3, 4, 5. So 500,000? No, that's wrong. I don't even know.
I couldn't even do it. No, that's what I was trying to do.
So 100 times 1,000, 100,000. 100,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 100,000. There we go.
Again.
Are we gonna do long division next?
Hold on. Can I just say that her getting basic math on the second try is impressive to me.
I mean, what kind of diagnostics do you use, Bima, when you gauge these magnificent intellectuals that you consume in their books? Like,
They sound cool.
How do you measure intelligence,
Bima? Ask them if they'll come and debate with us.
Oh yeah, they absolutely 110%. But I don't trust. Like, I wouldn't ever. I don't. I mean, like, if you were to make a pledge to me that you wouldn't, act like you do most of the time. Like, if you were a decent human being, I would. But I would never subject people that get paid to speak at universities and travel the world and to come here to be. Treated like
Bima,
shit.
let me ask you a follow-up question here. Like, how high do you think you are, like, in terms of comparing yourself to people in this room. You sound very egotistical in a way. Does anybody agree with me?
Egotistical?
Oh yeah.
About what?
Well, how about when you go on about how much you know about the conflict between Hamas and Israel?
I don't claim to listen. It's only. Do you know that you're the only person that has a problem with it? When I'm in other rooms with intelligent people that have civil dialogues, exactly. I'm also in Ruben's room and Daniel's room and Tobias's room, and I have wonderful Simon's room, okay? And I have
Bima,
wonderful conversations.
let me ask you a follow-up question.
Civil dialogues.
Bima, let me ask you a follow-up question here.
Anything that happens in this room.
When I say egotistical, Bima, I'm just wondering, when I say egotistical, can you tell us what the ego is? Thank you.
I get the I, right? The belief in the I, the thought, the understanding of what and who, how we understand ourselves.
Bima,
is that wrong?
When I say ego, and you can explain it, it's not subjective, objective. An ego is called a concept. Have you ever held an ego, touched an ego, tasted an ego? It's called concept, Bima. Can you tell me what a concept is? Thank you.
An idea? That's it? A concept is an idea?
Correct.
John, are you done with the deposition or no?
If you could bridge it all together, I'd be interested to understand where you're going. Ego. What was it? Ego. What were the other two things that you talked about? So, ego, concept, an idea.
Yeah, you said you're a maniacal egomaniac. And you're dumb and can't do math.
Well, anarchists will have calculators.
Anybody else want to tie that together?
Wait, Bima, I got one more quick diagnostic question for you. What is 500 times 1,000?
The fact that it takes this long.
I got it, John. Thanks.
So I got one more follow-up question for everybody in the room before I go to Emerald Island. My question to the room is that I want to ask, why do people come into like a social audio app and then basically like think that they're smarter than other people? Like, and they're not really, like you got no really way to compare, but like people make this claim all the time that they have superior knowledge and wisdom on how things should be. Why do you think that is?
Dunning-Kruger effect, narcissistic behavior.
The fact that smart people don't have to tell other people how smart they are.
Condescending, narcissistic. I'm looking for other words.
Well, Bima at least got one question right. When I asked you what is the source of love or life or the source of wisdom, I mean you answered correctly with the G-O-D. So Bima is G-O.
I'd like to revise that. Actually, it is what is love? It's anti-coercion. That's what love is. Anti-coercion.
Speaking of, John, Congressman John, can you this would be helpful if we could help not psychoeducation so much, but just education. I need to talk less about narcissism. But that being said, we need to distinguish among the terms narcissistic, egotistic, and egoistic, right?
Yeah.
Say that 10 times backwards.
I've seen the Narcissus flower in Washington, D.C. at some castle in Washington, D.C., but it's a flower. It's a plant. Narcissus or self-love, I mean, I don't know why you always bring up the term. I mean, it's basically an irrelevant term in terms of who you are. I mean, the question is, who are you or where did you come from? If you know where you came from, you solve all your problems.
Well, for example, I'm egoistic, right? I'm absolutely preoccupied with myself. The usage, the overusage of narcissistic, borrowed from popular psychology and even in a sociological context, we overuse the term, but a lot of people are really meaning someone's egotistical or egoistic. They're not differentiating, and that's important, right?
So is the typical serial profile narcissistic or egotistical?
A typical what?
It's the same thing, essentially.
Serial killer. A serial killer is usually profiled as being severely narcissistic.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not a clinician in that space, but I'll say that, most psychopaths almost all psychopaths would be considered narcissistic, but not all narcissists are psychopathic. But that being said, what's interesting is overt narcissism is often thought of as as psychopathic, like factor 1 and factor 2 psychopathy, narcissism, grandiose narcissism. People aren't so insecure; they're over the top, overconfident, right? So a lot of people are beginning to think that it's only the covert narcissist, not the grandiose or overt ones, that are really the true narcissists who have insecurities and they constantly they have to belittle others to feel good about themselves, right? Whereas the one who's more like a psychopath, the overt narcissist, like Donald Trump is not, it may have a little bit of a thin skin, but he's not spending his time preoccupied with really what other people think of him in the same sense that, like, for him to be president and take that kind of criticism, he thinks, he really does believe that he's smarter than everybody else. And so he doesn't like criticism, but he really believes it. He is so overt. He's a malignant narcissist, but he's also so overt, right? Like, he's great.
Well, hold on, Dr. Jordan. It's not about whether or not he thinks he's the smartest. Sometimes just being decisive is the power, right?
True, 100%.
Being able to make a decision. Was it Abraham Lincoln that said the worst thing to do is nothing? The best thing to do is the right thing. The wrong thing is somewhere in the middle. Like doing nothing is worse than doing the wrong thing. Like 100%. Go ahead. So here's my point. When you take if you're going to try to analyze somebody like Donald Trump, you need to analyze him without a political lens. You need to just figure out, like, okay, well, what is it that makes this guy tick? And clearly, it's not that he doesn't have a desire to be the smartest guy in the room. What he desires is to be the winner. And sometimes you could be the stupidest guy in the room and still win.
Yeah, so a hallmark characteristic of a narcissist like Donald Trump, and this is to his credit, to what he said, is by like they can go. They are when you're overconfident and rely on instinct, you see the world so different than other people. And even if, let's say, someone's a scientist at the top of their game and they're narcissistic, they're still largely relying on instinct. They may be able to provide empirical data to back a lot of things up, but they are. Dr. Adams, you're. Hold on a second. I'm not modded. So I think there's great benefit in relying on instinct, but think of the other narcissistic people in your lives. Do they tend to rely on instinct? Go ahead.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing, right? It's not just instinct, though. It's about talent. Like, if you were to compare this, let's take it out of an intellectual realm and just say, let's say we're talking basketball, right? If I'm physically gifted and I know the fundamentals of playing defense, and let's say I'm quick, I can afford to play you very close man-to-man defense. I'm less worried about you beating me than somebody that's slower or less skilled. So I can play you close, and even if you did make an incredible move to try to blow past me, I then have additional tools in my repertoire to be able to play defense against you. Whereas a weaker defender will